Hello, I wanted to talk about multiplication with negative values. To start out, what does multiplication mean in the first place? I usually like to think about multiplication as repeated addition. And so in this case, if I'm thinking about repeated addition, I can think about how many items are in each of these rows. Well, if I go across, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the first row. But this is the same for all of the rows. So all of the rows have 5 items. And when I add 5 to itself 4 times, 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, that gives me 20. But then I can think of this in a different way. Instead of counting across the rows, I can count across the columns. In this column I have 4. In this column I have 4. In this column I have 4. In the fourth column I have 4. And in the fifth column I have 4. So 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 is also equal to 20. So there are two ways to think about 4 times 5 equaling 20. So what does this mean in terms of negative values, right? If I wanted to take positive 4 and multiply it times negative 5, what am I going to get? Well, 4 times positive 5 was positive 5 added to itself 4 times. So if 4 times positive 5 is 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, then 4 times negative 5 should be negative 5 plus negative 5 plus negative 5 plus negative 5. And we just do that 4 times. And so we're going to get the same amount of value. 4 times 5 is still 20. But it's all going to be negative value because there's 4 negative numbers here. And when we add all of values that have the same sign, we're going to get the same sign as our result. So all of this value here is just simply negative 20. So what about reversing it? Because we also saw with 4 times 5, the positive version, that was 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. But if positive 4 times negative 5 is adding negative 5 4 times, then how can we think about the reverse? In this case, I want to take positive 4 negative 5 times. Well, what is negative addition? Because I want to negatively add 4 5 times. Well, negative addition is just simply subtraction. So I want to subtract 4 5 times. And when I do that, it's the exact same thing as before. I'm subtracting 4 5 times, which means I'm going to get negative 20. The same sort of reasoning here gives us the same result. So what about if I took negative 4, negative 4, and I multiplied this times negative 5, right? If I'm multiplying times negative 5, then I want to negatively add negative 5 4 times. And if I have negative 5 4 times, well, we've seen before in the addition video that I've done that subtracting a negative number is the same as adding a positive number. So all of these negatives are going to cancel each other out. And so that's the same sort of thing with multiplication. If I multiply a negative value times another negative value, then the signs are going to flip back into positive. So we get positive 20. And this would be the exact same thing if I thought about it this way with negative 4 5 times. So we would just simply copy this so that there are 5 of them. And this is going to give us the same positive 20 because all of these negative negatives are going to cancel each other out to become positives. So the rule for multiplication with positive and negative values is that a positive number multiplied by another positive number is equal to a positive number. a negative value multiplied by another negative value is again positive. If I take a positive number and I multiply it times a negative number, I'm going to get a negative result. And that's the same as if I take a negative number and I multiply it times a positive number, and I'm going to still get a negative result. And so we can think about this if we pair all of the numbers together. Let's say we're multiplying more than two numbers. Then if I have an even number of negatives, then I'm going to get a positive result because I can just pair each of those negatives together and I'm going to get a positive result. If I had an odd number, then I'm going to get a negative result. And then you can think about just simply multiplying the values at the end. And so let's say I had negative 20 times negative 3 times 5 times 4, right? Well, I've got two negatives. So whatever this is, I'm going to get a positive result because an even number of negatives cancels each other out. If this was instead negative 20 times negative 3 times positive 5 times negative 4, then that will give me a negative result. And we can also think about this just simply in terms of pairing the numbers off. Once I multiply these two numbers together, I'm going to get a positive result. Times another positive number will still be positive, and then times the last number I will get a negative. And so my answer is negative. And this will be the same for any way you do multiplication. If there's an even number of negative signs, then your result is positive. If there's an odd number, your result is negative. All right, I hope this helps clarify how negative values interact with multiplication, and I hope you have a great day.